You've watched a lot of guys be the guy. Now you're the guy. What's that like?
I kind of had to take on the role a little bit at the end of last year with the way that teams were guarding me, and it's tough. You have to be locked in every game. You're going to get every team's best. It's super exciting, but the guys around me are going to make it easy on me, and we have so many good players, and I'm so excited about so many guys that it doesn't all fall on my shoulders. So it's going to be a team effort, and I'm super excited to see what we can do.
How do you handle that responsibility and kind of the importance of that?
I think I'm in the leadership role now. That's really the most important thing to me is, the way that I can lead these guys and lead the team towards, our goals as a team is really what's important to me, and something that I've worked on a ton is my leadership skills. So I think that's the most important and thing that I'm most excited about going into this year is just the way that I can affect this team with, my leadership, my experience, and, get everyone going on the same page.
How do you become a good leader, and what are the keys to that? And do you have to kind of know each personality and what buttons to push?
Yeah, there's different ways you can lead. I think this summer I focused a ton on just building relationships with everybody. Getting lunch with certain guys, or hanging out in groups, hanging out as a whole team. And I think that's been fun. I learned from a lot of great leaders that were here in my time, and they were all different leaders. Keegan and Chris were great leaders, but they didn't always do it vocally. They led us in with hard work and the way that they played hard and brought it every day. And Connor was that vocal leader. Philip was that vocal leader, and even going back to last year, Patrick was a vocal leader. So I learned a ton from those guys. Learned a ton from my dad, and my grandpa, who both were great coaches, and I think I'm prepared for this role.
Fran mentioned upstairs that you had a few solid offers on the table in that NBA Combine process. How difficult of a decision was it to come back, and how close were you to taking that next step?
Yeah, I'll just take you back to a story. So it was like 2 or 3 days before the decision day, and at this point I was truly on the fence. There was people telling me to stay in, that it would be a bad decision to go back. There's people saying it would be a bad decision to stay in. So it's tough, and that was the first time that I got to go home. So I was just kind of sitting on my dad rented a boat for the weekend. It was Memorial Day, and we were just I was just laying in the sun and really stressed out, anxious, and couldn't figure it out. And I just prayed about it, and God wants me here, and I'm super excited for this team. And it is hard to say no to your dream, especially you've been dreaming about playing in the NBA as a kid. You could say yes to it, but it's not about that. You have to have the discipline to come back and pretty much bet on yourself. And I'm betting on this team. I love this team, and I think it's going to provide me and a lot of other guys opportunity to progress our careers as individuals, but also as a team.
Thanks.
How do you, with all the roster turnovers and everything, how do you kind of maintain that culture and that standard that you guys have set? Because it's almost like free agency, revolving door. I mean, how do you kind of just maintain what you guys want to do in the future?
Yeah, it's hard. We had a lot of guys that had good years last year, younger guys that could have gone pretty much anywhere in the country. And shout out all those guys, myself included, but we had a ton of guys who wanted to come back, believed in this team, believed in the coaches, believed in each other, and believed in ourselves. And we put a lot of other things kind of aside to build this culture, and it's something I'm super proud of. It's why I've been here as long as I have, is because I believe in what we're building, and I'm excited about it.
Fran said that Brock's probably as tough of a guy as he's ever coached. He's not afraid to get after it, even if older guys or whatever. Would you kind of classify him as that? And is he always intense all the time, even when it comes off the court stuff? Because it just seems like he's very, very driven.
Yeah, he's about as tough as anybody I've ever met, and I've been unbelievably impressed with the way that he's played in his preseason practices throughout the summer. You can tell how bad he wants it. He's earned it, and he makes everybody else better on the floor, which I think the most important thing. But I don't know how he has so much energy all the time. It doesn't make sense. But I guess it's a little guy in him. But he, he's been so impressive, and I'm excited to watch him play this year.
Has he yelled at you?
He has, but he kind of knows not to mess with the big dog. It's very rare.
I was going to ask. Yeah.
Payton, just talking about Owen a little bit, feels like he's embracing the expectations. He's not sneaking, he's not flying under the radar anymore. Everyone knows what to expect from him. I guess, what have you seen from him this summer, and what differences are you expecting here in year two?
Yeah, I've kind of talked about his skill set is vastly improved. It's a wider variety of a lot of things he can do, and he's kind of learning how to implement that right now. And there's a lot of people helping him with that. But obviously the expectations are there. They can be really hard to deal with, especially at the age he's at. But he's handled it well. It's something that I'll continue to work with him on, because it's something we're kind of dealing with together. So I'm proud of him, proud of the way that he's really grown up, and I think he's going to have a phenomenal year.
Cooper Koch comes in, 6'8", knows how to shoot the three, probably sounds a little bit familiar to you. Has he been like a sponge with you, or how have you interacted with him, built that relationship coming into this year?
Yeah, I think the first day Cooper was on campus, I saw a lot of my younger self in him, and I would say he's even way more ready than I was when I came as a freshman and I made an impact. So, I'm excited to see how he can play this year. He has such a wide skill set, really knows how to play the game. He's way more athletic than I am, and I thought he would be, but he's going to be an unbelievable player here. I would expect him to make just huge things for this team this year, and the sky's the limit for him. I think he's learned a lot from me. I've tried to help him, but a lot of it was already kind of ingrained in who he was as a player, and I think he's definitely ready to go. Definitely
What
ready.
struck you most about him as a player?
I think it's just his feel for the game. He's a really, really good shooter and does a lot of things well in his skill set, but his feel, his knowing when to cut, the way he already plays in the motion offense is really impressive to me. He rebounds, he makes a ton of plays, and that's hard to develop. Coming into the motion system, it's different from a lot of the way basketball's played now, but he always knows when to cut, when to move, when to screen, and he's a ton of fun to play with, and he's going to have a huge impact this year.
Fran has talked about you betting on yourself.